Oh, they're gone. Is that empty? Hey up, Bob.
Hello, how you doing?
All right, you?
What can I do for you?
Well, firstly, I guess I've got to tell you how many balls I've got.
You've heard that, have you?
I nearly pressed the buzzer downstairs, but I thought, there's no need for that, really.
But apart from that, how are you?
Yeah. So, where's Alan?
Who?
Alan.
Who's Alan?
I
don't know.
Does he still work here?
Yeah.
Why is that then?
I'm not going to discuss that, my man.
So, I've come unprepared.
We'll go back home and have a rethink.
I probably would. No, I'm flagging, to be honest. So I'm running out of steam. So I'm coming in with the best will of the world to do a good thing, and I'm just having a nice chat with Bob, the guy that we're supposed to not like, and he's laughing, and he's.
I'm not that bad.
You're supposed to be miserable, and you're laughing away.
I'm not that bad, really. It's like everything else on this planet. What can I call you? Something? You don't have to tell me your name, but can I call you?
Yeah, you could call me. I was going to swear then. I've got Tourette's, so I might swear at some point. So please don't arrest me for public, whatever it's called. I'm not going to be able to do anything about it. You can call. Let's just go for sir. Let's go old school professional.
Yeah, do you know what? I forgot what I was going to say now.
It's like anything in this world.
It's like anything in this world. Is you sort of tend to deal with people and they sort of want to deal with you. Really, we all have bad days and off days, don't we?
Yeah, except there is an obvious power disparity here between you guys and anybody else. So it's not.
Why do you say that?
What do you mean? Why do you say that?
Yeah, because I've got a different take on that. You see?
Well, your take would be wrong.
Why?
Because there is an obvious power disparity difference between the public and the police.
Let me put something to you. Do you not think that when people work, say for example, in a job like us, to a certain extent we have a level of vulnerability because we're constrained by certain rules and regulations? Have you ever thought of it that way?
I don't know why we're going down this road in the slightest, to be honest. There's an obvious power disparity. What you've just said does not disprove what I said at all.
No.
Doesn't make any difference to it in the slightest.
No, but the two can
There's an obvious power disparity, and I can display that.
How's that?
Carrick? Cousins?
Oh, don't get me started on those pieces of filth.
Well, apparently you're not allowed to comment on stuff anyway, so...
Well, that's something that's in the public domain, and I think anybody who doesn't feel the right to comment on those horrible pieces of disgusting human. Well, no,
so what's the difference between that and pushing someone into the road and potentially causing an accident and then getting hurt?
Not going to go down there, really.
Hypothetical.
No, it's not.
Hypothetically, what would be the difference?
How do you mean?
I think it's pretty obvious. Hypothetically, what would be the difference
between
an officer with a power disparity and a position...
Are you able to just hold this while a member of the public's in here?
Hold it in what way?
Not film or discuss
I was under the impression
in here. Please.
My signing on...
You come back and carry on, I don't mind.
Well, I probably don't think there's much point coming back and carrying on, really.
That was from the 11th of November, December.
You git.
Just got...
You git. You got my conscience working then, you bastard.
Oh no, it's nice we can have a laugh. Life's too serious.
It could have been very serious though, couldn't it? It could have been very serious outside, in the road.
Well, I mean...
There's no excusing it at all, is there? I know you can't, I'm just saying, it's rhetorical, it's not a question. There's no excusing it, it's, it's a busy road, it's a corner of a road. It's not, whenever auditors outside police stations, they're always being pushed away from the driving because the police vehicles are going to be coming out at speed and all that kind of stuff.
Really, seriously, what do you expect me to say?
Just any kind of...
I like your mask, by the way.
I don't, to be honest. Yeah, no, I don't like it at all. It's the first day I've worn it and I don't like it in the slightest.
I take it you don't look like that.
I might have bought a mask that's an exact tattoo of my face.
Very, very, very cunning.
I was thinking of getting a tattoo of Brad Pitt's face, so I'm much more attractive. If I get a tattoo of Brad Pitt's face on my face, I'm much more attractive. So, how long would an investigation of like that?
What time do you close?
Oh, thank you. How long would an investigation, hypothetically, How long would an investigation take if someone was assaulted just outside the police station by a police officer?
How long's a piece of string?
Really?
I mean, it really would.
Is there not a limit on how long it should take?
Do you know what? In an ideal world, there'd be lots of limits on things, on anything, but it's like everything else with this job. It depends on what evidence has got to be gathered, what somebody's workord is like.
Yeah, but if you go into any other job and you make a mistake and someone puts a complaint in, there are...
We're very clever here, aren't we?
No. I'm just saying that all corporations have a complaints procedure that's followed that has set time limits on it by law. So surely you guys have as well. Why would you guys be any different from any other company that has a myriad of problems to do with sexual assault and all that kind of stuff?
I don't know what other organisations, what time limits they may or may not have.
Any company that you work for, I don't know how long you've done this job, but any company that you work for
long, I think.
has a complaints procedure, and there is a statutory limit on how long that can take and how it gets answered and all that kind of stuff. So there should be a statutory limit on how long a police investigation takes.
I agree with you for many reasons.
All right, I'll rephrase that then. It's not that there should be, I would suspect there is, and I would expect an officer to know what that is in a public-facing thing. And if they don't know what it is, I would expect to come back and ask again and get given an answer. Because if any other job was like this, any other job like this, you're expected to go home and do research. If you're a teacher, you have so much work to do outside of work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the amount of auditing videos I watch where the police are clearly, well, not even clearly, the police are making it up as they go along. Now, I know you can't talk about those specific things because I'm not saying anything specific, but if there's one job where daily police should be then looking up what they've said to people and finding out what the actual laws are instead of fucking making it up as they go along. Sorry, that's not a...
It's not a case.
There's not a question, really.
It's not a case of making it up as you go along, though.
I can send you a lot of videos of police making it up.
Well, you may. I have a different perception. Obviously, yeah. It's sometimes a case of we're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't. If we turn around and say we don't know, we're not going to discuss it, we get criticised for that. Sometimes it's a case of people trying to think and see where they can come to a conclusion. I agree with you that if we're going to pass information to people, it should be accurate and correct. But what I always say to people is, do you want your information quickly or accurately?
Accurately.
Yeah. So.
No, accurately. I don't want it quickly. I want it accurately.
Unfortunately, a lot of people in the modern world seem to want information quickly, and then they complain if it's not accurate.
Yeah, I don't think that washes with the police, though.
Well,
if you're going into a situation where you've got a power imbalance and you're using powers against people, if you don't know what those powers are, you shouldn't... No. If that police officer is making them up, which they do with filming all the time, if that police officer is making it up for whatever reason, or whatever it might be, I've lost my train of thought.
I think what you're trying to say is that, yeah, we and you are right, in that if we are going to exercise a position of authority, we should understand what that authority is fully.
Yes.
Right? We do get it wrong sometimes. I've got it wrong on occasions.
I think there seems to be more and more getting it wrong happening. It may just be that there's more and more videos of it, but if that's the case, then there's a massive problem. Well, and if it's not the case that it's just more and more videos, then there was a massive problem anyway. So.
No, well, I mean, again, I think there is some people have got a perception of what they think we're doing wrong. I don't really want to comment on that because obviously I've got.
Well, it's hard to do that anyway. It's hard for you to comment from that perspective.
Yeah. There are a lot of occasions, I think, where we do stuff where some different people's perceptions, and I could tell you stories of some absolutely ridiculous things, but it wouldn't be sort of appropriate. But I think a lot of time perception comes into it, and I fully understand that we've got to address people's perceptions, maybe we've certainly got to make sure that we get it right as best we can.
I think the problem at the moment with the Met, and them saying they've got at least 1,600 officers that shouldn't be out dealing with the public, that they're talking about having maybe 2 or 3 cases a day. There's a serious problem going on. It's not just about learning a little bit here and there. There's a serious problem that Cousins managed to get away with it. That Carrick got away with it for 20 years. There's clearly a cultural problem going wrong in there.
Do you know what?
And the police's internal investigations are saying that we have a problem with racism and all that kind of stuff. And with the push at the moment, if the police internal investigations, if the chief of the Met is saying that, You can't get it more straight from the horse's mouth, really.
Yeah, I fully understand. I think sometimes...
And the 1,600 officers are the only ones that we know about.
Well,
There could be thousands more. Sorry. That'll keep on happening. There you go.
Yeah.
Tourette's, autism, echolalia.
That's fair enough, my man. I don't mind. All I would say is, and again, I don't want to comment on what the Met Chief has said because I don't know fully the context under which he's saying it.
Hang on. Do you not think that you should, as part of your job, that you should take great interest in what's happening in the force that's causing people to be raped and murdered?
Well, that's been dealt with by somebody other than me.
If I was working for B&Q and there was a branch of B&Q hundreds of miles away where people were being raped and murdered and they'd been covered up for 20 years, I'd probably want to know about that and what the hell is going on with the company I work for, and I would do everything to find out about that.
Can I, as an individual, trying to get myself involved in everything that's going wrong potentially in the police? If you're saying saying this so much,
yeah, no. I'm talking about one thing, and you're talking about everything. So there's a bit of a difference between what I brought up and what you're countering it with.
Well, maybe
I'm talking about two issues and two people, and you're specifically that thousands of officers. It's in the news right now.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that you have to be up with all of it, but this is huge. Why would you not all be clued in on that particular thing? Because it's making you all look terrible.
Because there's nothing we can do about it.
That's a really defeatist attitude.
No, right, no. What I'm trying to say is, there's nothing that we've got a job to do here. My job here is what goes on in Norfolk. I can't have any impact on what goes on in London. I expect other people to have an impact on what's going on in London, and that's what I trust them to do.
So we end up back at fella outside, really, don't we? We end up back at potentially the ranks closing, protecting him. No one's making a comment. No one's got an opinion about it. No one really wants to speak about any of it. And we don't know when the investigation might happen. It could go on for 10 years, 5 years, 3 months, a day, a week, an hour. It could be done in the next minute. Those are going to be absolutely... Yeah. Do you not understand from that there is a perception that the police protect each other? And again, with Carrick, Cousins, that this might be a countrywide problem, that you're protecting each other instead of one of you just saying, yeah, what that guy did was wrong, we need to get rid of him. He's making us all look bad. He could be doing worse things. Because the officers in London weren't doing that. Sorry, I guess I am. I guess I am being rhetorical because I know you can't.
Because I mean, apart from anything, let's put that one to bed. That case is still sub judice, and I'm potentially a witness in it, so I can't comment on
What would say that again? I didn't understand.
Sub judice.
Is that all one word?
No, I think it's two. It means it's a live case still before the court. So therefore,
where's the word? Sorry, it's because of the autism. Where's the word separation? Where's the
sub? S-U-B.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Latin.
And the second word is...
It's under justice.
And what's the second word again?
Judice.
Judice.
Yeah.
Oh, so as in judiciary or that kind of thing. Right, okay, got you.
Basically, you know what governments have got, like, they've got to use as many posh words as possible.
Yeah.
You know, why use one word where a dozen will do?
Where it's all from back in the day anyway, as well, isn't it? Yeah. Thank you.
That's all right.
I'm glad I didn't press the buzzer downstairs, although, I mean, how funny would it have been to just press the buzzer, for someone to say hello, and me to just say, I've got two bollocks?
Yeah. Do you know what the context of that was?
I don't know.
I thought it was an officer I was speaking to who was taking a mickey, so I was taking it back.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would never know it, particularly, I was born at night, not last night, and I know I look stupid and can be, but... Knowing what the situation is, there's no way I'd put myself in that position deliberately to be filmed, recorded, potentially being rude to a member of the public. I mean,
that's a very good thing to hear, whether it's true or not.
Well, all I'll say is that before I joined this job, my mum and dad brought me up to at least try and treat people with respect, be decent people, and that's the way it is. Yeah. Do I get it wrong sometimes? Does everybody? Yeah.
We're back to the power disparity, though. That's
anyway, we won't get back on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's where the getting it wrong has way more implications for the person you're getting it wrong to than the rest of us. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I swear and I haven't declared, I was at the market this morning. if I hadn't declared to every single officer that I was down there that I'd got Tourette's and all that kind of stuff, the chances of me being arrested for a public order offence is like through the roof. Not a single officer would react how you have today and given it, all right, yeah, no, that's okay, fair enough, we understand or whatever.
I don't mind. I mean,
it's not a matter of not minding, it's a matter of telling a bunch of police that I've got a disability, and their response literally being, well, if I hear an offence today, it's like, no, it's not an offence. I'm going to be exhibiting a disorder that I can't help.
I can't comment on what another officer might or might not.
No, why not? Why is that?
Pardon?
Why is that?
Because I'm only getting your take on that, aren't I?
It's all on video.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can upload it and then you can watch it and I can ask you again in about a week.
No. I still...
That's you not informing yourself.
Pardon?
That's you not informing yourself.
It's not a case of not informing myself, it's a case of I will not try and second guess what another officer's decision making would be, as in I would not appreciate somebody trying to second guess mine.
Even when it's as clear and obvious as someone being discriminated for having a disability.
Oh, I can't comment on that. It would be
Why not? It's the most basic, simple thing that you don't believe in discrimination against disabilities.
I don't believe in discrimination on the basis of anything at all.
There we go. That was quite simple. So why?
Yeah.
So why can't you comment about? Why couldn't you comment when I said other officers were willing to discriminate?
Because that's going. I'm talking about my views about discrimination on a broad base.
And you're not representing the force today.
You're asking me to talk about a specific event or a specific set of events which I'm not party to, which I can't, and I won't because it'd be inappropriate.
So, are you? Have I heard right that you don't go out on the street and all that kind of stuff?
I do sometimes, yeah.
Okay. So if you were at the market this morning, what would your response have been if I'd have said to you, I've got Tourette's, don't arrest me for a public order offence? It would be discriminatory and I'm not warning you, I'm letting you know that it's likely to happen and I can't help it.
It would depend on what you were actually doing.
I was just walking around... No, hang on. Explain.
Right, okay. If you were just... I use bad language in a conversation. If you were just expressing bad language in a conversation, then as far as I understand it, that is something that isn't necessarily in the context of it, particularly if you mentioned that. The problem would be if you were actually getting up in somebody's face and shouting and screaming and directing that abuse at them.
No, oh, that's not, no. It would be more, like I've not done it today because I'm kind of clapped out from this morning and my tics have all kind of stopped. But, it would be... the weird thing about it is it's almost impossible to force it. But it would be, warning, public order offence coming. It would be more kind of, cunt! Or something like that. Or, fucking... My friend over the weekend was repeating chicken fucker at me constantly just in the hope that I might say it when I came here. Thankfully, it didn't take.
Mate, you all work with servicemen. They can fit a swear word into the middle of another word.
Well, yeah, that's kind of normally how I speak as well. So it gets confused.
That must actually be quite. If you're aware of it and trying to deal with it all, that must be really quite debilitating.
That's why I went and told everyone today, and the response was very disappointing. That's why your response has been a bit of fresh air when I came in, and you were just like, yeah, all right, it's fine. Everyone else there was kind of like, well, it's going to be an offence, isn't it? No, it's a expression. It's not even an expression. It's the disorder expressing itself. It's a disability. You may as well be arresting someone for being in a wheelchair, which, you know, back in the day we would have arrested them and put them in a fucking home and just... Let's not even think about the disabled people anymore. I certainly would be. Anyway, I think I've run out of steam and I'm just waffling shit at you now.
No, fair enough, mate.
Go and do some fucking work.
You sound like my boss.
I am your boss.
In that case, I've got some leave for you.
Absolutely fine, mate. I'm quite happy with that. You take as much time off as you like.
Yeah. You enjoy the rest of your day.
I will. I'm probably just going to end up passing out at some point.
Well, be careful.
I do have a hypothetical for you. I do have a hypothetical that I planned and completely forgot about. Ah, shit. I obviously didn't plan it very well. I've caught myself by surprise.
Come back next week.
No. So, I have...
I like that mask because actually, when you're smiling, that's smiling as well.
Can you see the smile through it?
No, but it actually mirrors your features. You can tell that you're smiling.
That sounds rude. I have a prescription for legal cannabis.
Right.
that was kind of it. Oh shit! I have completely run out of steam. I think I'm going to have to come back and have this conversation like you said.
Well, I work 2 Saturdays out of 3. They should have been my day off, actually. But so.
Are you up to speed? Do you know if if these officers are up to speed on legal prescriptions for cannabis and consumption in public? Are you up to speed first? Let's say that, I guess.
My understanding of it is not great, I've got to say. And it may be something that I will go away and learn more about since you've brought it to my attention. Have you got your prescription show?
Yeah, I was just thinking I'm not going to get it out because it's got my name and my address all over it.
No, fair point. Tell me what it says, because I did deal with one of these.
It looks like a normal prescription.
Yeah.
That's it.
Is it specifically for cannabis as we would understand it, or is it for like a derivative of?
For want of a better turn of phrase, it's weed.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Are you thinking, or are we just in stasis?
No, I'm just trying to think about what the outcome of the last one I inquired about. I've been asleep since then, unfortunately. You've got to remember I'm getting old. So.
Can I ask how old?
Sorry?
Can I ask how old?
Yes, you can ask.
How old?
61.
61. Oh, you got 11 years on me.
Yeah. It was because it's in my role. It wasn't something I actually come across a lot, and so I know that there was something like it wasn't just as simple as if you've got one of these prescriptions, you can basically walk around with a big bag full of weed in your pocket.
You're allowed a maximum of 2 ounces a month.
Yeah.
That's the legal maximum. As far as I'm aware, and I have been told by the clinic, it's a Harley Street clinic, I'll have you know. I felt fancy for a second, private. If I've got my prescription on me, I can leave the country, come back in the country with weed. I could travel all over Europe with it. Legally, I'm allowed all around the UK with... I don't know about Wales and Scotland, actually. But as far as I'm aware, I'm allowed all the way around. So my next question is, obviously this is going to be no smoking.
Yeah.
Do you allow people to use their nicotine vaporisers in here? No. You know what's coming, don't you?
Can you come in here and smoke your weed?
No, I wouldn't be smoking it. Because smoking's not good. Smoking's bad for you. Vaporising weed is very good for you. So I'm kind of wondering what would happen if I came in here with my prescription and started vaporising weed.
If it's not allowed in the building, vaping isn't allowed in the building, is it? No.
But vaping isn't a criminal offence. So how would you guys deal with that then?
Because this is not a public place as people understand it, where anyone can just come in any time. It's a place to which the public have access. If it's like everything else where public have access, there are certain things that we ask people to abide by, and no smoking rule, which includes vaping, is one of them. So if somebody is contravening something like that, we would ask them to leave.
But what? I guess from your understanding today, if that were to happen, if I were to do that and I have a prescription on me, how would you react?
If you've got a prescription on it that says you're lawfully entitled to be in possession of cannabis and its derivatives, then that's not an offence, is it? But if you're vaping, whatever you're vaping, it'd be a
So all you would do is ask me to leave. You wouldn't try and arrest me for having cannabis or anything like that? Well, I'm not going to do it, but I just wondered.
So you're educating me today as well.
Well, that's part of the whole reason for having a dialogue, isn't it? You would hope that there's at least a tiny bit of two-way, even if it's just planting seeds, even if it's maybe for want of... Even if it's just you planting a seed in my head, or even if it's just me planting a seed in your head, at least at some point, if you were to encounter someone with a prescription now, and one of your fellow officers decides to arrest that person, you can go, hang on a minute, we are going to be getting ourselves in a whole world of trouble here.
I've done that before.
And that's all I can...
I've had it done to me. When I started in the job, I was like everybody else. I was raw. I was a rookie. I'd had basic training. It's like everything else you develop as you go on to a career. Nobody can know everything.
Well, obviously, but we can all go away and research.
You can plant seed in my mind. I may look at that and think, no, it still doesn't change my view. But at least I've had. It's never a bad thing to constantly review what you believe and what you think.
Oh, I was a firm believer in that.
Yeah.
And
youth is something we've all been guilty of, and we'd all like to be accused of again.
That's a very good phrase.
Yeah, I actually invented that one.
Did you? That's nice.
Yeah.
You should start writing.
Hey?
Start writing. No, I came up with that 30 years ago. I peaked. I peaked with that phrase.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I guess that leads me on to another question of, if I was down at the market and I vaped and got arrested because those officers were ignorant of the law and was brought in here, would you... what are they called? The duty sergeants and all that kind of thing.
The first thing is...
So would I encounter you at any point?
If you were brought in here, you would probably encounter me, and the first thing I'd say is, why are you bringing this bloke in here? We don't accept prisoners in Bethel Street anymore. They'll go to Wyndham.
I didn't know that, obviously.
This isn't a... We don't bang people up here anymore.
That's kind of circumventing the point a little bit, though, isn't it?
Well, the reality is that if the officers are presenting to a custody sergeant, the custody sergeant's job is to make sure that that arrest has been justified. And if you stand there and prove that you have a legal prescription, and therefore
the custody sergeant should let me go, is what you're saying?
The custody sergeants will. The custody sergeants want illegal arrests as much as I want another dose of plantar fasciitis.
Okay.
So, and if the arrest is unlawful, they will have you brought back here with a. And if you were to find therefore that you had grounds to make a complaint, then you're justified in doing it.
Is there any value, do you think, in me printing out the laws about this and carrying them with me down at the market, or from what I've seen of how a lot of these sorry for making generalisations.
No, sure.
From what I've seen, a lot of these officers don't want in that moment to be educated in the slightest, so they're not going to listen to being told that they've got their job wrong, because ego starts up in everyone. Everyone gets defensive about that kind of thing, and certainly in this job with the power disparity, there's a certain amount of character that has to come with doing that job, because everyone's going to say, I was doing nothing, it's legal. Shit, I've forgotten what kind of point I was trying to get to. Should I carry that law? Do you think it would be worthwhile me carrying that law around with me?
Could it hurt? And could it potentially educate somebody? Could it help? Yeah.
That's the answer.
And I'll tell you what I will do.
Ooh.
I will go and speak to the duty sergeant here to say, and I'll tell him about this conversation that we've had.
Okay.
And then maybe that can be promulgated out to other people more. I don't want people to be unlawful.
It seems like that kind of news travels very, very slowly through the force.
Oh, I can honestly tell you, do you know what? The very last thing an officer wants is an unnecessary complaint, because that is a world of pain. Despite what you may think, when you are subject of investigation, that can be a big world of pain.
Yeah, it's probably not as much pain as the victim's been through, though, is it?
Well, I could argue that.
I just disagreed with myself internally. So yeah.
There you go.
I understand. Do you have an opinion on the fact that the thin blue line badge is not being appreciated, shall we say, by certain members of the public? What with it defacing the flag? What with it being, people in custody being hurt and dying, and there's no one's going around wearing a patch for the people that have been hurt in custody. And there's comparatively a much smaller amount of officers that have.
Well, I don't want to get on to that.
I suppose so. Yeah. That's going to get personal, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah. And you seem like quite a decent bloke, and there are things I would quite happily discuss. As I said to Ethan last week, if we were sitting in a pub having a conversation over a beer, I might be more forthcoming, but in this situation I can't be, can I? And you know that. Got to poke the bear, aren't you? Got to poke the bear. The problem is
it's more just seeing if anything comes up from what he said. I'll be back in a week.
Yeah, I'll be here next week.
Say again?
I'll be here next week.
All right.
Yeah, you take very good.
We'll be back for the same conversation.
Enjoyed the conversation.
Wow.
Have you?
See, that's part of the problem. It feels less like an enjoyable conversation and more like a a public duty and a thing that we're having to do because the news is going wild with the police force not doing what it's doing.
All I would say to you is this, and you know, I've been involved in incidents that I've then seen reported in the news, and I think, well, I was there, and there was nothing like that.
Yeah, but when we're talking about like I was saying before,
Yeah.
the chief of the Met, when we're talking about Carrick and Cousins, it becomes unavoidable that it's. That's not being reported badly, is it?
One thing to you, and it might sound like I'm
20 years he was getting away with that. 20 years.
Mate, you know what?
He could only have got away with that with colleagues protecting him.
And that, to me, is potentially one of the biggest stains on the police reputation that will ever happen in my
Well, it's the
life.
second one within how long? Do you know what I mean? And we only know about that one. God knows how many others there might be. The closing ranks thing that's not good. That's not good at all.
I can honestly say that when the incident about Wayne Cousins came to light, I thought, I can usually argue and defend certain. That's indefensible, but I just felt like, as somebody who's worked for the police for all that time, I just felt like my plug had been pulled. I just thought there was just.
It's just shame all over the force, really, isn't it? It's just utter shame.
Yeah, and I couldn't. I find it even difficult now to elucidate what I think about that whole situation. Right. I just cannot think of anything a greater abuse of power, and the letting down of that bad.
See, that's where it becomes a slippery slope of, well, why does it have to get that bad for officers to?
Because I just don't.
Why does it need to get that bad for officers to care? Whereas that could have been a massive accident out there the other week. And yes, it's an ongoing investigation and you can't comment, but being able to say assaulting someone is bad, it's not that, is it? You know, officers should be saying what he did that day was wrong. The video is there. Everyone can see it. She landed in the road.
She could have faked it.
Yeah. Well,
stop it. Don't be ridiculous. Huh?
We aren't going to go down that route here today. You're very, I've got to say, I've got to give you credit for being persistent and being very clever.
I don't feel like it's being clever. I don't feel like I'm trying anything. I don't feel like
that's
I'm making any effort. It's just
you can see how it looks from my side, can't you?
What do you mean?
When we go down a nice conversational route, and then all of a sudden we come back to that incident there.
You're at work, and I'm here because you're at work.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep on talking about work.
Yeah. But say I can't comment on. I won't comment on that particular incident.
You should be there, really.
Well.
Have a good day. Thank you. And yeah, all right. I have enjoyed it. Don't let it go to your heart, though. Hey!
I told you it'd suck you in.
He didn't suck me in. He's just told me I was.
Like you're having a lager together,
he just told me I wasn't. He wasn't sucking me in.
And they forget what you said. Yeah. All right. Good luck. Yeah, you too. See you.
Hey! Hey!